Thank you for watching videos by Jeff Sebelius and LandAndAirPhotos.com. It's mid-2018. Are you looking to buy a drone right now? I'm going to talk about all the most popular drones to help you to decide which one is right for you. In the previous episode, I talked about budget drones, those drones that cost under $700. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the drones that cost over $700. So, let's get started. As I was creating this video, Yuneec announced the planned release for the Typhoon H Plus, and DJI set a date for the announcement of their new product, probably a drone like a Mavic 2. I will cover those two drones in a separate episode. Before we get started, this episode is part of an entire series of videos designed to make you a better, safer drone pilot. If you want to learn about drone flying, take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Just click the little cartoon Jeff on screen right now to subscribe, and hit the little bell icon so you'll be notified when I post again. In a previous episode, I discussed budget drones you can buy in mid-2018, including the Yuneec Breeze, DJI Spark, Q500 4K, the Autel X-Star Premium, and the Parrot Anafi. You can find all of these drones for sale for under $700. The Anafi is supposed to be released in early July, but you can pre-order it now. In that episode, I gave an overview of the drone companies. I'm not going to repeat that here. The first video is linked in the upper right corner of the screen, so watch that episode for an introduction to DJI, Yuneec, Autel, and Parrot, as well as a review of the current crop of budget drones. Now, let's talk about drones that cost more than $700. For $799, you can get the DJI Mavic Air. This tiny drone features a remarkable feature set, including front, rear, and downward obstacle avoidance and a variety of intelligent modes. It shoots at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second at 100 megabits per second, and 1080p at 120 frames per second. Only the much more expensive Phantom 4 Pro and the soon-to-be-released Autel Evo do that now. The Mavic Air comes in 3 colors, and all 3 versions have a black underside to make the drone easier to see in the sky. The Air also features 8 GB of built-in storage space for those times when you forget to bring a media card with you, and yeah, that does happen. As I said before, the Mavic Air is tiny. It weighs more than the Spark or the Anafi, but it's still a drone that is easy to take with you. In spite of its size, I think the Mavic Air is built very solidly. It is much more durable than the Mavic Pro, for example, even though the Pro costs considerably more. The only knocks on the Mavic Air are that it can get bounced around in the wind, it's noisier than other drones, the media card slot is hard to access, and it has less range than the Mavic Pro or Phantom due to its Wi-Fi transmission system. Less range is relative, though. The Mavic Air will fly farther than you can see it, and you shouldn't be flying it beyond that point anyway. The battery is rated at 21 minutes, which means more like 15 minutes in real life. That's a short flight time compared to other modern drones. Still, the Mavic Air is the most capable drone I've covered up to now, with the possible exception of the Parrot Anafi. When we go above the $800 price point, we must first talk about the Mavic Pro. The Mavic Pro was the first popular foldable 4K drone, and people love its compact size. The Mavic Pro is bigger than the Mavic Air, but it's still a very small drone. To give you an idea how small it is, here's the case I use for carrying my Mavic Pro around. In it, I have the Mavic, remote controller, cables, iPad mini, a couple extra batteries, and the Mav Mount, a device for mounting your iPad into the remote controller. All that fits in this little case. Alright, let's put this in perspective. Here's the Mavic Pro bag compared to a Phantom 4 Pro bag or the Typhoon H bag. That's quite the difference. In spite of its size, I think the Mavic Pro flies very smoothly. It handles wind pretty well, although I have experienced some wind jitters when flying in breezy conditions, as you can see here. The Mavic Pro shoots at 4K resolution at 30 frames per second and comes with most of the intelligent flight modes. It has a longer flight time and better range than any of the other drones I'll discuss except for the Phantom 4 Pro. The Mavic Pro has forward and downward obstacle avoidance that works very well, and it's advertised as having a range of over 4 miles, which is insane. I will say this, even though the Mavic Pro is smaller than the Phantom 4 Pro, I can see it at a farther distance simply because it's black. That's a safety feature I appreciate. I'll never buy another white drone. The original Mavic Pro is reported to have quality problems shooting at 1080p resolution at higher frame rates. The updated version, Mavic Pro Platinum, is reported not to have these problems. The Platinum offers a little better flight time and reduced prop noise, but it costs $100 more. Cosmetically, there just isn't much difference between the two versions, just the color of the plastic. Here you can see the Mavic Pro Platinum with an original Mavic Pro battery on it. Not a big difference in color. DJI also has a white version of the Mavic Pro, which makes no sense to me at all. The Mavic Pro is a remarkably stable drone, but I think it's probably the most fragile of the drones that I'll cover. I've been flying the Mavic Pro for several weeks, and I just don't think this is as sturdy or reliable of a build of a drone as what you get with other drones in my lineup. The real weak point of this drone is the gimbal. It's very flimsy and very easy to break, even when you're putting the gimbal lock on, which is meant to protect the darn thing. Even during flight, the gimbal jiggles quite a bit, as you can see here. Also, the card slot for the media card has a cover on it, and this cover is just terribly flimsy. It's just begging to break off. The transmitter looks about the same as the one for the Mavic Air or the Spark, but it does have a built-in screen to give you telemetry information. Something I don't like about all the DJI drones other than the Phantom 4 Pro, I think the controllers for the Spark, Mavic Air, and Mavic Pro are too small. I feel like I have better control of the drone and the gimbal with the larger controllers. If you want the Mavic Pro, save $100 and get the original Mavic Pro unless you want to shoot at higher frame rates, in which case the Platinum version is better for you. The Platinum is definitely quieter, so if you need to minimize the noise, that's another reason to go Platinum over the original Mavic Pro. So if you're just comparing the Mavic Air or the Mavic Pro, which should you get? That's a toss-up. More range and longer flight times come with the Mavic Pro. If your priority is higher video resolution and smaller size, the Mavic Air is your choice. I lean towards the Pro because it uses the OcuSync system instead of a Wi-Fi transmission system like the Air does, so I trust it a little more. Chances are you'll be happy with either one. A new drone will hit the market soon that might take the spot as the top drone under $1,000, and that's the Autel Evo. This folding drone looks like a cross between a Mavic Pro and a Parrot Bebop. It will feature 4K resolution, 60 frames per second at 100 megabits per second to match the Mavic Air. The Evo has intelligent flight modes, front, rear, and downward obstacle avoidance, Autel's bright orange color scheme, and other features. Autel claims the Evo has a 30-minute flight time which matches the Mavic Pro Platinum and the Phantom 4 Pro. The Evo comes with a small screen on its remote, which is a really nice feature. You still want a smart device, but this little screen will work if you don't have a smart device available. On paper, this drone looks great. The sample clips I've seen from it are beautiful, and Autel just announced that it will be released on June 21st, so we should be able to see real-world examples of what it can do very soon. It better perform well. The Evo costs $999, which makes it the second most expensive drone in my lineup. Autel really needs to consider dropping the price to below $900 so it competes better with the Mavic Pro. I will be reviewing the Autel Evo, so stay tuned for that. A quick update from when I originally wrote this script. It's now June 23rd and the Evo is not yet out. Stores are saying it will ship anywhere from July 2nd to July 20th. Worse, sample footage is showing a trend to a tilted horizon in the Evo footage. Autel says it's working to fix this issue with firmware. Historically, the company has not been quick to address issues like this, so I'm very concerned. If you're on the fence about ordering an Evo, I suggest you wait until Autel can get this issue fixed. When I find out the problem is resolved, I'll do a drone news episode and let you know. Another drone under $1,000 is the Yuneec Typhoon H. This is a completely different system than the other drones I've discussed. This is the only hexacopter in my roundup. That's why it's called the Typhoon H, by the way. And the 6 motors give you the security of being able to land the drone in the highly unlikely event that one of your motors dies during flight. The Typhoon H is the biggest drone I'll discuss, and a lot of people find that off-putting. They want small, convenient, and easy to carry. The Typhoon H is big, but you can get a really good quality backpack for it that is bundled with some systems. The H is a great camera drone. I love the colors I get from it more than any other drone. It has a few intelligent modes, including waypoints, and it can handle higher winds than the other drones. It's not perfect in the wind, as you can see here, but still, it does better than the rest of the drones in my lineup. Another cool feature of the Typhoon H is that the landing gear retracts, and you can rotate your camera a full 360 degrees without turning the aircraft. The transmitter features a built-in screen, so you don't have to buy a smart device or deal with wonky apps. This is a huge advantage in terms of cost and reliability. The Typhoon H has dropped in price considerably. You can find a base model for under $800 now, or spend a little more and get it with a couple batteries and that really good backpack. The downsides of the H? It's big, as I said. It doesn't lock into its GPS position as well as DJI drones, so you get a little wavering in your hover. Yuneec drones use dumb batteries. They don't have any LED indicators to show how much the battery is charged. DJI batteries do have a light indicator on them, as you can see here, to show its level of charge. Yuneec batteries are dumb, but they're cheaper. They're just more difficult to maintain and use. Most importantly, too many of the Typhoon H drones shipped with real problems. Okay, you expect some units to have problems right off the assembly line with any drone, but dealers tell me the H had more than its fair share in this regard. Further, some things tend to go wrong as you're using it, most notably the retractable landing gear. I have one Typhoon that I've essentially given up on for retracting the legs. It's just totally unreliable. The Typhoon H comes with and without Intel RealSense, which is an obstacle avoidance system. I'm not impressed with RealSense whatsoever, and I never use it on my system. If I were buying now, I'd get the system without RealSense and put the money into batteries. So the H is an excellent option that costs a lot less than DJI equivalents because it's priced lower, it doesn't need a smart device, and its batteries are cheaper. It's your best choice for dealing with the wind, and I love its picture quality. If you get one, be sure to check it out thoroughly as soon as you get it to make sure it's problem-free. By the way, if you buy a Typhoon H, be sure to check out the other videos on my channel. There are dozens of videos to teach you how to operate this drone. This leads me to the last drone in my roundup, the Phantom 4 Pro. This is the most expensive drone in my lineup, and with good reason. Right now, it's the best drone on the market under $2,000. The Phantom 4 Pro flies like a dream. It locks into its GPS positioning like it was nailed into place. It flies smoothly and shoots great video thanks to its 1-inch sensor that shoots 4K resolution up to 60 frames per second at 100 megabits per second. It has many of the great intelligent modes, a mechanical shutter for improved image quality, and an advertised range that is just ridiculous. The lens is slightly less wide-angle than the other drone cameras, and it gives you virtually no curvature on the horizon, even when panning down. The Phantom 4 Pro has front, rear, and downward obstacle avoidance. It also has side obstacle avoidance, but this only works in beginners and tripods modes, so the side sensors are basically worthless. Overall, the obstacle avoidance system is the best I've experienced. The Phantom 4 Pro is bigger than the Mavics, about the same size as the Autel X-Star Premium, and smaller than the unique Q500 4K or Typhoon H. The good news is it will fit into carry-on luggage if you're planning to transport it on a plane. This is why I bought the Phantom 4 Pro in the first place, so I could take it on my vacation to Hawaii when the Typhoon H was too big to carry onto the plane. With its increased size, the Phantom 4 Pro handles wind better than the other drones in my lineup other than the Typhoon H. It does have a bad habit of flipping over when you try to launch in windy conditions, however, so you have to watch for that. The shortcomings of the Phantom 4 Pro are few and center mostly on the problematic Go4 app. The drone itself is amazing. I found the Phantom 4 Pro to be very sensitive to magnetic interference, and it seems to require a lot of calibrations and firmware updates and no-fly zone updates, and that gets a little tiresome. I could talk for an hour about the Phantom 4 Pro. Suffice it to say that it's the best drone on the market until you get to drones over $2,000. Still, it's not right for everyone. The Phantom 4 Pro costs a lot more than other drones, from $1,400 to $1,800. Batteries cost $170 each. You need to buy a case for it, so there's another $100 to $500. Don't forget a pricey smart device, another $200, on up to $800 for a Crystal Sky. The Phantom 4 Pro is really in a different category than the other drones in my lineup because it works out to be so much more expensive. So, if you're not a photographer, not planning to shoot commercially, do you really need all these capabilities? For most hobbyists, I think this is overkill. I think most hobbyists would never see the difference between video taken by a Phantom 4 Pro and video shot by other drones in the lineup. And if you don't believe me, I've got a video showing clips shot by a variety of drones, including the Phantom 4 Pro. Watch that and see if you can see the difference. If you can't see the difference in the output, would you be just as happy with a less expensive drone? That's a question for you to answer. So, if you really do want the Phantom 4 Pro, which one should you buy? There are several different versions. Prior to the Phantom 4 Pro, DJI had issued a Phantom 4, which I'd probably pass on unless I could get it really cheap. The Pro version has a much better camera system. The Phantom 4 Pro was first issued in white with two versions, with and without a built-in monitor on the transmitter. The version with the built-in monitor is called the Phantom 4 Pro Plus, which is a mouthful. The monitor is supposed to be really bright, but I've heard of too many people having problems with it, and the fact is, if the monitor malfunctions, you have to send the entire transmitter in for repair. DJI came out with a black version of the Phantom 4 Pro called the Obsidian, again with or without the built-in monitor. Recently, they issued the Phantom 4 Pro version 2, a white Phantom 4 Pro with some minor enhancements. The only major enhancement is that it has OcuSync for its transmission system, so it supports wireless HDMI connections with things like goggles. Many people say the version 2's OcuSync is better than version 1's Lightbridge transmission system. I haven't compared the two, but I can tell you that Lightbridge is plenty good enough for my needs. It also has different ESCs and props to make it quieter, but you can use the props on the Phantom 4 Pro version 1 to achieve at least a portion of the noise reduction. DJI has also released the Phantom 4 Advanced, an interesting choice. It's almost the same as the Phantom 4 Pro, but it has fewer obstacle avoidance features and it doesn't transmit on both 2.4 and 5.8 MHz frequencies. It's an interesting option if you really want the Phantom 4 Pro but need to save $300. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in black, so you're stuck with flying a white drone that's harder to see in the sky. Unless you plan to fly with goggles, I personally think the Phantom 4 Pro Obsidian without the monitor is the best choice. The improved visibility of the black drone is more valuable to me than OcuSync or support for goggles. So that's where things stand with drones in June 2018. Hopefully I've given you some thoughts on how to compare these drones above looking at the price tag and the specs so you can pick the right one to fit your needs. In the coming weeks, I'll be doing reviews and tutorials on the Parrot Anafi and the Autel Evo. I've also got tutorials planned for the other drones for beginners and more experienced flyers as well. So if you haven't done it yet, click the little cartoon Jeff in the lower right corner to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications. Hey, if you decide to buy a DJI drone, I can save you some money. Order your drone, batteries, and accessories from acesdeals.biz. Use the coupon code JSLAP when you order, and you'll get a discount off everything in their store. Remember, DJI does not honor their warranty if you buy from someone other than an authorized dealer. Aces Deals is an authorized DJI dealer. They ship worldwide. You get a discount for watching this video. This is pretty much a no-brainer. Follow the link in the description below or call Aces Deals. Be sure to use the coupon code so you get the discount. Stop! Before you go, hit the subscribe button and push that like button too. Down in the description you'll find a link to my Facebook group. Join the group and let's talk. Finally, on screen is a playlist with a whole bunch of drone videos, so click on that to see all the news, reviews, and tutorials I put together just for you. Get all that done? Okay, you can go now.